Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
Dillian White is a fighter I admire. I admire the way he's come up from being on small hall shows to really being the B fighter and sometimes the undercard fighter to having his own shows, which are on pay-per-view, and to him making a haul of money. Now, he's never had a world title shot. Some of that is his own fault. Right? Let's not make mistakes and say it's all one side. No. Dillian White could have had a world title shot by now. He had that opportunity to go through with a purse bid against Kubrat Pulev and face him for the IBF mandatory. He didn't, and that's why Hughie Fury ended up fighting. That was in 2018. He could have had a voluntary shot against Anthony Joshua in 2019. He didn't decide not to go for that. That would have been in Wembley. So let's not say that Dillian White hasn't had opportunities, but he could have fought for a world title. He definitely could have. He's been persistent in going down the road of fighting for the WBC title. Now, for sure, Dillian White has not made life easy for himself. I believe he's still in a legal battle now, as far as I believe, in which he's trying to get the WBC to make him full champion and make Tyson Fury champion in recess. They ain't going to do that because there's way too much money on the table for Fury versus Wilder 3 than there would be for Dillian White versus Wilder. Shows that he's willing to jump in, but at the end of the day, these sanctioning bodies, the WBC in particular, they care about money. Money is everything to them. For example, this past week, Errol Spence could be out of the ring for God knows how long. The WBC have not made him champion in recess or champion emeritus. They said it would have been easier for them to go and strip Errol Spence or make him champion in recess and let Ugas and Pacquiao fight for the vacant title. No, it wouldn't. Because they see more money in Spence long term. Ugas, in the nicest way, he's not the biggest draw. Pacquiao, will he carry on? They don't know. So it's easier to keep that belt on Spence and just let him do whatever he does. Obviously, they don't need to call mandatories. Lest we forget, people say about the IBF being, brilliant at enforcing mandatories. He's not had a mandatory title defense with the IBF since 2018. Let that sink in. 2018, 3 years was the last time he made a mandatory defense for the IBF. And I don't think they've even called it mandatory at all, the IBF anyway. So, the WBC, they all make up rules as they go along. But Dillian White has been persistent with pursuing the WBC. To the point where you can kind of see a bit of friction between Sullivan, when he mentions Dillian White. I think that at this stage, Mauricio Sullivan maybe is sick of the Dillian White back and forth. Dillian White wanting a shot and Sullivan just trying to go where the money goes and keep that title going wherever money is. Because Dillian White ain't looking likely to get his shot anytime soon. And when you see things like that, when they keep a title on Errol Spence, and look, I like Errol Spence, I do. But if he's not going to be able to defend his title for a prolonged period of time, should it not make more sense just to make him champion emeritus if you don't want to strip him full blown and let someone fight for the vacant so it's not held up? They done that with Vitaly Klitschko years ago. They made him, I think he was champion in recess twice, or he was champion in recess when he had the 4-year gap. And then he fought Manuel Char and he'd no real intention of fighting again. But I think it was 2 years, in 2014, when they finally announced, okay, let's get this title vacant. And I think they made him champion, and I think he's still champion emeritus with WBC. I think that maybe that has a shelf life on it, but God knows the WBC. Surely you would think that would be the easier thing to do, to just make him champion in recess, let people move on with the title. But no, I'm not doing that. And this is another kick in the teeth. This is another, real, just, if he's already got enough shots, this is going to be another shot at the back of Dillian White's head. In their light heavyweight division, champion Artur Beterbiev is now ordered to make a mandatory title defense against Marcus Browne. Now, Marcus Browne is a decent light heavyweight. I've always felt that he was overrated, personally. I didn't think he would lose to Jan Pascal, but he did. But in my money, and if you heard the tractor go by, apologies about that. Can't control that. But I always felt that he was overhyped. And what I mean by that is that Marcus Browne had very good athleticism, very good speed, but he seemed to lack punch resistance, and he seemed to almost have a phobia of getting hit. Most fight, we know it's boxing, you're going to get hit. It goes without saying. But it seemed like he really wanted to minimize it as much as he could. It seems like he was afraid of getting hit, as if he didn't have confidence in his own chin. He's been down a couple of times, has Marcus Brown. Now, he lost that fight to Jan Pascal. And he only had his first fight since. Bear in mind, that was August 2019, 2 years ago. He only had his first fight back there, I think in April or March. It was a 10-rounder, non-title fight, and it was at 180 pounds, cruiserweight. And now he's mandatory for Artur Beterbiev. Are you taking the absolute you-know-what? So, his last fight at light heavyweight, he lost. A year and a half, 18 months out of the ring, he has a fight, a non-title fight, above the light heavyweight limit. He's now mandatory. Explain, please, because I want someone to explain that to me. How in God's name you can logically work that one out. And even if you wanted to say, well, they could have done that non-title fight as an eliminator, mandatory. No, they couldn't. It was above the light heavyweight limit. It was a 10-rounder. As far as I'm aware, final eliminators are 12 rounders. As far as I'm aware, major matches, major stipulations like that are 12 rounders. So this decision is an absolute joke by the WBC. Someone whose last fight light heavyweight they lost, and previous fight was a 10-rounder at the not much above, but the weight division above nonetheless. In a non-title fight, you've made him mandatory, and Dillian White still has to wait. That really is taking the you-know-what. Now, Dillian White, rightly so, has been criticised for not going ahead and taking that shot with the IBF eliminator, rightfully so, and against Anthony Joshua, rightfully so, because he says, I don't get these title shots, you could have had them there. But I can't excuse what the WBC are doing. In every other division, they're either getting these mandatories plucked out of thin air. Like all of a sudden, there's a guy ranked. It's like, what? Or, if they see money in their champion, they're like, you can do what you like. We'll hold that title up. No problem. No problem whatsoever. I mean, think of it like this. When they stripped Canelo back in 2016, and Canelo had that falling out with the WBC, when Canelo came and said, right, basically when he was going to fight Triple G, and the time came for the WBC and Canelo to bury the hatchet, how quick were they to just jump back onto Canelo? Bear in mind, Canelo remember how diva-ish Canelo was back then about WBC, and he wasn't happy with them at all. And all of a sudden, they just forgot that when Canelo had his tainted meat, them and the WBA were the first two to come out and say, "Oh no, oh no, it's completely fine." They're corrupt. They go where the money is. They see more money in Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. They see more money in the winner of Fury Wilder facing the winner of AJ Usyk. They see more money in that than they do when having Dillian White fight a Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. Integrity for their title is down there. Profit money is up there. That's the only way you can explain it. At the end of the day, like Tony Bellew, I criticise him a lot, and rightfully so. But when he was WBC champion, he wasn't even injured. And straight away, when he went up to heavyweight to fight David Haye, he could have came back down to cruiserweight. The WBC were like, no. We're making you champion emeritus, and we're going to let Marco Huck and Myers Breedis fight for your vacant title. The guy was only moving up. He wasn't injured. It wasn't like he was going to be out for a prolonged period of time. He could have came back down to cruiserweight. Obviously, they saw probably more length or more money. God knows what they saw, but they'll do it for something like that when the fighter, where your champion's not injured. Because Bellew wasn't injured. He just moved to heavyweight to fight David Haye. Straight away, champion emeritus. But yet, like Errol Spence, could be a potentially very bad eye injury, could be out of the ring for a while. Oh, no. You can keep that. You can keep that, it's fine. Oh, it's fine. Dillian White waiting around for his mandatory title shot, trying everything to get it enforced. We'll make you wait. But a guy who hasn't fought a WBC sanctioned fight in 2 years, and the last time he did fight one he lost, we'll just make him mandatory. There you go. What the hell is going on with the WBC? At the end of the day, it's an issue in boxing that is probably never going to change. These sanctioning bodies are the way they are. It is what it is. I don't like saying that, but it seems that's the way it is, because the WBA I mean, Chris Mannix was joking about them on the zone card the weekend. The IBF, as I said, people say they enforce their mandatories, and they do to some extent. As I said, Errol Spence, 3 years since his last mandatory, and the IBF are the one organisation who do enforce their mandatories, but lest we forget, there's a lot of weak mandatories in there. A lot of weak mandatories. The WBO aren't perfect, certainly not, and they have done that, like making Anthony Yard mandatory for Kovalev when he never fought in Eliminators, so they've done it as well. They would probably be, them two, the IBF and the WBO are probably the two with the most integrity, and their integrity is not massively high, but they definitely are the lesser of two evils when you look at the WBA and the WBC. I mean, those two, Jesus Christ, they do not give a you-know-what, and it's all about sanctioning fees. I mean, for God's sake, the WBC, I think I said this before, how many champions do they have at heavyweight? Or people with a stake to it? AJ super champion, he is the champion. Bryan is the regular. Dubois is the interim. Hellenius is the gold. And Char is the champion emeritus. So 5. Not including all their interim or intercontinental and, stuff like that titles. That is crazy. And as I said, Errol Spence, 3 years since his last mandatory. 3 years for the IBF. When was Charlo's mandatory for the IBF? When was the last mandatory? There was a mandatory for the IBF at 154. Hasn't been called in a while. So as much as people want to say the IBF are good, when it suits them, they'll let their mandatories go. Or they'll wait a long time before calling one. Absolutely crazy. When I seen that about Brown and Beterbiev, that's actually that's not a bad fight. To be fair, I would heavily favour Beterbiev. I think he'll knock Marcus Brown out. But it is just strange that they'll make a rule up for that division and just chuck someone in there as a mandatory, but heavyweight and welterweight, they'll just leave it there idle. I mean, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, by the time they get in the ring, it would have been nearly 2 years since that heavyweight title has even been defended. Crazy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you think of everything I addressed in this video. Do you think that I'm being too harsh on the WBA and the WBC specifically? Or are you like me in agreement and think, you know what, these guys are absolute, thumbs down emoji. Just to keep the algorithms happy, we'll just say thumbs down emoji. Are you kind of like that? Let me know in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could, smash the like button, subscribe of course if you haven't already. #GMansRocks, haven't said that in a while, all that good stuff. For now, lads and lassies, I'll talk to you. Peace.